You see, there's sometimes the enemy knows where your limits are. And he knows that your limit is to chase down a person who lied concerning you. That when the Lord told you go right, as you just get to the crossroads, you're about to turn. Then you heard some chatter. Yeah, she ain't nothing. And you start hearing the lies they said about you. And instead of you focusing on the path God called you on, the enemy planted that right there to say, no, you go chase after this. Chase after it. Just go sort it out. Just find out why they said what they said. And then all of a sudden you get angry. Your anger leads you to make stupid decisions. You see, I was watching something the other day that broke my heart. A man is driving to his home. As he's speeding, someone tells him, slow down. The person who says slow down is someone he can stand on his street. Rather than him to just focus and go home. It was almost like, you know what, I've had enough of all your commentary. He reverses his car. Some of you may have seen this. He reverses his car to the man, gets out of the car, and starts coming at him. And he's just like, he's tired, They go into this argument. And when he's turning around to get back into his car, the guy shoots him, dead. In 3 seconds, he could have just said, go home, go home. And literally, this man, when I saw the full video, he turned on his street at the same time this man was about to enter his home. It was like, if he was delayed for 3 seconds, he would have missed that man. Sometimes you need to thank God when you are actually in traffic. Sometimes you need to thank God when the route doesn't work out the way you're thinking, because you have no clue what is planted on the way for you to get riled up by. 3 seconds he would have missed this man. All the man said was slow down, but that slow down was layered in many things. And instead of him to just go by his business, it was triggered, reversed, and that was the end of his life. A young student. Why am I saying this? The Apostle Paul said something. He says, I die daily. What he means by that is I decrease daily. Every single day there is what my flesh desires to do, and there is what the Spirit desires to do. And if I live life according to the desires of my flesh, I am living life in deception. And so when that riles up, I decrease. That version of me must decrease, so that what God desires to do through my life will come forth. You see, there are many of you in this room who are listening to me, and you would realize where you have used your own mouth to sabotage something that God gave you. Why? Because on the path of what God intended, you allowed something to get you riled up. You allowed something to get almost like this, knife under your skin. And rather than ignoring it, you said, not today. And then you say, not today, Satan. No, you just said, yes, Satan. Say no to hell. No to hell. In America, for some reason, hell no is a curse word, but it's not in Nigeria, and I'm Nigerian, so hell no. Hell no. No to hell. Okay. If anybody comes at me, I am African. We say that all day. But why? I'm just keeping it real, okay? I have an Igbo name too to back it up. But sometimes you have to literally be like, hell, no. No. Hell is a location. It can be a curse word. I am saying hell, no. Okay? I am no to hell. Because there are things that are constantly coming at you. You don't realize it because it feels good to your ego. It feels good to your pride to respond. It feels good to your pride to have the last word. It feels good to your ego in that moment, but it's a failed moment for what God desired. I must decrease. There are going to be moments that are less challenging, but still wrapped up all the same. You see, it's easier for us to talk about God to strangers, but then we wouldn't do it in our workplace. Because we're worried about if we're going to lose the client if we talk about our faith. I must decrease. You don't realize that the favor that may be connected to you in that place is connected to you declaring and decreeing about your faith. That the person that you keep dancing around your faith with, that the Lord is like, I actually put you here to share your faith with them. But then you're so worried about how they would view you and how they would see you that you start to act like somebody else. You start giving into things that you quit a long time ago just to fit in, and you're losing favor where you should have the favor. You're trying to have favor with people, but losing it with God. And it's favor with the Lord that keeps you in a place. Because we all know the saying, if it's solely based on what a person did for you, then they'll control every step concerning you. If your confidence is connected to what a person did and not knowing that, God, you placed me here, where do your allegiance lie? Because that's where your destiny is controlled. That's where your life is controlled. If you keep being quiet because you're worried about what the people will think, what the people would say, the Lord will say to the prophet Ezekiel, he said, you will say what I will tell you to say to this people. Because if you do not say it, their blood would be on your hands. He says, if you do not say it and they die in their sin, their blood I would require from you. That is a weighty statement. And the Lord tells him, he says, not everyone will listen to you. He says, I know that they are a rebellious house. Not everyone will listen to you, but still speak. Because you don't know when you're planting the seed or when the seed is going to get watered. And at the end of the day, and when he desires, the Lord knows how to cause it to grow. I decrease so that Jesus must increase. They're family members that we don't even want to share our faith with because we don't want to rile up the feathers. We don't want to get into arguments or debates or this or that. No, just share your faith. Just stand your ground. Have integrity in the industry. There are certain things you don't have to do. If you realize that God before me, if you realize that, Lord, everywhere you sent me is so that you must increase. What does it look like for you to shine through this? What does it look like for you to shine through my home, through my marriage, through my job, through this industry? What does it look like? Am I too alive that you have no place here? I must decrease. Because you see, when you start to realize that if God's hand is on it, it will stay, then the fear of people would be broken off of you. Because at the end of the day, you should not want anything in your life or connected to your life that doesn't have the fragrance of God. So if you're so scared of of being disruptive in a way that something leaves your life, then maybe that thing has become a God in your life. I must decrease. You see, I love the story about the 3 Hebrew boys. There's even a song right now about it that I just can't get enough of. Y'all need to hear it. Right, it's like there's another in the fire. Oh, 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 oh. I can't sing for nothing, but... But the 3 Hebrew boys in the Bible... The 3 Hebrew boys in the Bible, there was a moment where the king Nebuchadnezzar, you know, he wanted everyone to bow before his statue. And they were not doing that. And then when he comes to them, he's like, how dare you? That don't you know who I am? And don't you know this is the decree that I made? And they looked at him, they said, "O king, we will not be slow to respond to you in this matter. That no matter what you're saying, we are not bowing down." The king literally tells them, "I will throw you in the fire." And they're like, whether the Lord saves us or not, we will not bow down. These were people who said, look, we're not going to be so mindful about our lives that we lose our way. The king thought he was doing something. He gets them bundled up, throws them in the fire. The people that threw them in died. The other people are dancing. And then they see the 4th man in the fire. So the Lord comes in and saves them and causes a divine protection. But here is the moral of that story. When they were brought out, the king was so moved, he starts to bless their God. And not only did he bless their God, he goes from making a decree about everyone in the kingdom bowing down to his statue to making a decree against anyone who will speak against their God. When they chose to decrease, Jesus increased. Not only through their lives, but in the land.